Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Ath Geeks, where athletes and geeks collide. I'm your host, Adrian, and make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend. Welcome to another episode of Weeb Wednesday. I'm sorry if it sounds a bit different, or it feels a bit rushed, or the quality is a bit lower. I'm out of town. Luckily, I pre-recorded Are You Weaving Though, but I didn't get around to this episode. So the Are You Weaving Though should be okay, but this one should be a little bit rushed. It's week 8. We're almost done. Can y'all believe we're literally almost done with the season? Only a couple more weeks, only a few more than about a dozen more anime to review, and then we're all set for the spring season. This week, we are going over Rokudo's Bad Girls, Heavenly's Delusion, Skip and Loafer, and Insomniacs After School. 4 solid anime. Let's start off with Rokudo's Bad Girls. We follow Rokudo Tosuke, a freshman in high school who simply wants to live a peaceful life. However, due to constant bullying in his school life, isn't exactly what he envisioned. This falls under the harem-based rom-com style, though one wouldn't be able to tell it based off the cover art itself. The art is different, but the more I watched it, the more it grew on me. Going back, Rokudo receives a gift from his grandpa that passed away many years ago, stating his life was in danger, and to use this scroll to combat it. Upon opening the scroll, he receives a symbol that, though it doesn't change him in, the way people see him, or change, make him super strong or something, it only changes how delinquent females specifically look at him. The delinquent females now see him as an Omega Chad, and with that, his bullying problem is over, because a wise man once said, or let me say, a wise woman once said, "Who runs the world? Girls, we run this mother." Yeah. He gets the strongest delinquent he could ever imagine on his side, Himiyari Ranada, an apex predator, and she single-handedly wipes gangs, the Yakuza, or anybody that causes harm to Rokudo. She's truly a one-woman wolf pack. Granted, his Riz doesn't help with the guys, but due to his will to fight back instead of running and cowering like a weakling, the once bullies are able to relate to him in one way or another. As stated earlier, the art is different, however the comedy is there, and as well as the solid foundation for the first 3 episodes, I am interested in to see how this one proceeds past 3, with him trying to turn the bad girls into good girls. So they fall out of love with him. He's trying to do his job. Moving on, Heavenly Delusion. Within the safety of the walls, youths are raised in a nursery-style setting by robots. While life there may appear stale on the surface, the children are full of potential and curiosity. In many ways, it's like a slice of heaven. The outside world is a hellscape. It is almost entirely void of anything mechanical and is now inhabited by bizarre yet powerful supernatural beings. Maro, with the aid of Kuroko, is out there crisscrossing what was once Tokyo for heaven. But after searching for so long, maybe heaven is more of an untenable dream than a potential reality. We start off with a look into the facility gated off from the outside, a utopia of sorts. Then we move over to our main characters in the outside world, exploring deserted cities, looking for goods in this utopia called heaven. I was constantly recommended this series, and I can see the appeal behind it, but in all honesty, I have been confused a good portion of the series, and even after 3 episodes, I am still confused. However, this series has a weird magnetism to it, to where even though you're confused, you want to keep watching to find out even more. Is she her brother, or is she herself with a traumatic issues? Why was there a split with the facility in the outside world where they are night and day? How many people are in the facility, and how do others not know about it? Where are these additional resources coming from, and where did these man-eaters come from? The first 3 did leave you in question. However, it's still really solid, and I do recommend this one. Next, we're moving on to Skip and Loafer. Iwakura Mitsui graduated from a small middle school in the countryside and entered a top-tier high school in Tokyo at the head of the class. This child prodigy who moved to Tokyo alone with the perfect life plan is smart and gets good grades, but her social understanding isn't quite on the same wavelength as others. Everyone experiences pent-up feelings and frustration, but is it our friends who give us a chance at mutual understanding? This story may start out with some discord, but it becomes a happy school life comedy before you know it. Another slice of life rom-com taking place in a high school setting, different from our harem-based rom-com we discussed earlier. Going from 8 total students to 260 in your year is a significant significant jump. Though it still isn't the crazy of a graduation class, if you're from like a moderately sized city, for someone that has only known the small town life, it is very significant. Our main character's social awkwardness gets to her quite often. It is only amplified because she is a person who plans out her day, and when it doesn't go as planned, she panics even more. Watching her fail to pick up on social cues is comparable to how people view homeschool students or private school students when they first move to public school. The social norms are completely different, and the people are crueler than, they initially let on. This was a solid anime that can be relatable. It won't pop out with the crazy animation or action or the character models, but they look solid still. But for the casual viewer, it might be a turnoff because it's a bit different. This is one I definitely advise. Like I said, the lessons they're emphasized throughout the story. Make this one, one I'd advise y'all to at least try. Lastly, we're going over Insomniacs After School. Gana Nakami is a high school student who suffers from insomnia. He meets Isaki Magari, a girl with the same condition. A strange but special relationship forms as they share a secret and catch up on their sleep in their school's abandoned observatory. This was another wonderful romance anime with their chance encounter and their love of naps, due to their insomnia being the thing that brought them together. Also, there's some connection with them as they both get embarrassed and blush and, when thinking or talking to each other. However, early on, it seems like they're just developing a platonic secret relationship. They begin to grow closer to each other, beginning to hang out outside of school, where they spend their time exploring the city at night instead of wasting time with their thoughts since they can't fall asleep anyways. They begin to slowly transform the abandoned observatory club into their own personal nap space until they are caught by the school and are forced to begin actively participating in the revival of the astronomy club. With the help of their teacher and a former student, will they be able to successfully revive the club so they can return to their peaceful slumber? This is another really good one. Now it's time to move on to the rankings. To start off, regarding the rankings, I have changed the format because I believe there's a negative connotation with the letter grade such as C when most animes fall into this category. Most anime, are average, but the fans have a preference to a specific type. For example, an average sport or rom-com or isekai for others might be average to below average rating if it's not their preference. But for me, it'll be, above average because that is my preferred category or genre. Luckily, I'm aware of my bias enough to attempt to, be as objective as possible. So to try to help viewers understand my viewpoint on certain anime, we have 4 new categories: elite, above average, average, and below average. Now with that being said, let's get on to the ratings. First, with Rokudo's Bad Girls, I will place this one in the average tier. The concept is unique enough that it will gain traction with a consistent audience. However, it still falls into the average ranking for me. Heavenly Delusion. I believe that this one should start off in the upper, average tier based on the first 3 episodes. However, depending on which direction the story goes and how it progresses, I believe this one can potentially move into above average. Next is Skip and Loafer. I truly enjoyed this one. However, objectively speaking, it also must go in the average tier, but I still think y'all should all check it out. And lastly, Insomniacs After School, a wonderful palette cleanse if you want a solid anime without action, adventure, darkness, or stuff like that. Just a good vibes romance anime of 2 students struggling with insomnia and leaning on each other to get through it. I feel this is an average anime, but it is really, really, really solid in the delivery. Once again, I must emphasize, it's elite, above average, average, and below average. In my opinion, it might be different. Y'all can comment below and let me know. I believe about 60% of anime fall into the average tier. Then I feel about 15% fall into above average, 15% fall into below average, and then about 10% of anime, if even that, fall into that elite category. But I feel like for the most part, most anime are just solid. They're not super great. They're not wonderful, groundbreaking, but they're just solid anime. And like I said, I like to promote those solid anime. And because somebody has to watch them. They all have fans, but I want to make sure y'all see those solid anime and can appreciate them well. Anyways, as we always say here on the Athletes, always remember to respect women. But most importantly, remember to respect yourself. Sipping ain't pimping. And enjoy your anime.